You're not afraid of the dark, are you?
In 1914, the British had a small volunteer force, which comprised of 400,000 urban Englishmen soldiers. Almost half of them were posted overseas to garrison the British Empire during World War I. However, in that same year, Black Britons volunteered at the recruitment centers and were joined by West Indian colonials. Black recruits could be found in all branches of the armed forces of the First War on the 4th of August of that year. They all would travel back to the motherland from the Caribbean to take part in the fight against the Germans, who was occupying Africa since 1884-1885, Berlin Conference. They joined other European powers in the scramble for Africa. Germany's colonies were German Togoland, now part of Ghana and Togo, Cameroon, Rwanda, Burundi, and Tanzania and Namibia. The Berlin Conference established regulations for the acquisition of African colonies that Germany would soon break. So, Germany's defeat in World War I was a result in the Allied powers, but specifically by unsung African heroes in the war, the Black Poppies. Soldiers from Nigeria, Gold Coast, Sierra Leone, Gambia, and other African colonies were to be recruited. They defended the borders adjoining the German territories, which played a huge role removing Germans from Africa. Although they were Black Britons, they were also known as Black Poppies. This term is associated with the remembrance of Black African and Caribbean contributions to the war effect. This was launched in 2010 to make the Black Poppy a nationwide symbol of remembrance. Nonetheless, in 1915, a proposal for a separate West Indian contingent to aid the war was approved. They formed a separate Black unit within the British Army. The first recruits sailed from Jamaica to Britain and arrived in October 1915 to train at a camp near Seaford on the Sussex coast. They were called the British West Indies Regiment, or the BWIR. These servicemen, or Black Poppies, was a population of 30 million in the African colonies of British Empire. 55,000 men served as combatant soldiers, and many hundreds of thousands more of carriers, auxiliary troops, and an estimated 10,000 were killed or died while serving. A total of 166 decorations were awarded to Africans. The war created such heroes as Lionel Turpin, a rifleman who was a Guyanese soldier of the British Army who also enlisted in the Army August 1915. At work in England, he was sent to the Western Front in February 1916 with the 2nd Battalion, the King's Regal Rifle Corps. He was in the Battle of Somme, and his army service ended in 1919 with 2 medals, 2 burned lungs, and a small shell wound in his back. He died in 1929 from the after effects of the war. Walter Daniel John Toole was an English footballer and British Army officer of the Afro-Caribbean descent. He served in the infantry regiment. He rose to the rank of the Lance Sergeant and fought in the Battle of Somme in 1916. When commissioned as a 2nd lieutenant on May 30 of 1917, he became the first mixed heritage infantry officer on the regular British Army regiment. When Toole and 23rd Battalion returned to northern France on March 8, 1918, he was killed in action, and his body was never recovered. By the end of the war in November of 1918, a total of 15,204 Black men had served in the BWIR, in which 185 soldiers were killed or died of wounds, and a further 1,071 died of illness, and another 697 wounded. The Black Poppies, heroes of the Great Britain during World War I, should always be remembered for their contributions and their sacrifice.